Alright, we are back with another Dokkan battle video today, and today's going to be something a little different because I'm actually caught up to the game. I did think about doing some missions, but I'm caught up on all of the new events, all of the new things to be, Extreme Super Battle Road, Union Master, Red Zone. I've actually completely caught up, so I did kind of decide to do a little bit of a different video today. I've been wanting to do this for a little bit, or at least a video like this for a little bit now, as doing a tier list of units, and I'll show the units that we're going to be doing, but we're going to be doing all of the 2025 units so far as we go into the part 2 of the Android celebration, or Android Cell Saga celebration. We're kind of going into a weird section here, but yeah, Android Cell Saga is what it's looking like. We don't know what the part 2 LR is going to be for Android 16. Could be a Super Vegeta, Final Flash, could be another Cell, could be a Gohan, Goku, like instant transmission Goku. Bye guys, we have no idea what it could be, but it will be something maybe along those lines because they've been pushing an Android Cell Saga theme. But before we get into that section, and obviously New Year's towards the end of the year, I wanted to take a look at all of the units released so far this year and rate them on their terms of the pick, I will say, in terms of how deserving they were for a pick, and also how well executed they were in terms of being like a good unit, but also like animations and stuff. Because, you know, some of these guys have amazing animations, but they just kind of suck. So we'll take into account how good they are, how good of a pick it was, and then how good they actually ended up looking. And that will be the criteria for our tier list, and I'm going to be ranking them all of the 2025 units so far. So yeah, let's just look at the tier list and start getting on it. These are obviously all of the units from 2025 so far. We have every anniversary unit onwards. I didn't do the free-to-play units, unfortunately. I do think they were all great this year. Mainly the Super Saiyan Bardock and the DKP LRs were amazing picks. I loved them so much. I wish DKP maybe got a summonable LR in the anniversary or something. But they are still all amazing picks for the free-to-play units this year have been great. Like the Goku Black full free-to-play team was great too. But I am just going to be doing summonable units today because those are just the ones that I know all off rip on how good they are. And how, I guess not exactly how good they are, 'cause some of them I don't have, but just how I have more information on them, so we're going to be tier listing them today. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be starting out with the anniversary characters here. We obviously have, I don't think these are the ones in order, I just kind of dragged them all up. They should be somewhat in order from when I dragged them, but I'm just gonna go in the order I have them on. So first up, we do have this Tech Super Vegito, obviously the god of the game, leading up to the global download campaign. That was kind of the only time they got power crept, but it was survive until turn 5 with these guys. So we do have Vegito. I think I have a little bit of Vegito bias here, but I'm going to stick this guy straight into Super. I think actually, you know what? We're going to stick him into maybe Z. I'm debating because the only reason I'm debating is because of how fast he got power crept, because that global download celebration or campaign, whichever one it was, they really power crept every single unit that came in. Every unit that was good previously on the year was just thrown into the fire and it was such a different meta, and everything was hitting way harder. So these guys all the anniversary units aged very fast. He is one of the ones that didn't, so I will stick him in Super, actually. He aged better than I think most of them, but he obviously is still great Festival of Battles. I think one of, if not the best units. I'm not too sure on how good everyone is in there, but I think he was a great release, like a great pick. Obviously, Super Vegito needed something. It'd been a while. He was dominant of the game. His counters were great. His animations are great. Like both the Vegeta and the Goku look good. The Vegito looks good, everything looks good on him. So I'm going to stick him in Super tier. I feel like they knocked him out of the park in terms of everything with him. All right, next up we have Super Saiyan 4 Goku. It's gonna seem like a little bit of a broken record here, but I think I might stick this guy in Super too. I'm not gonna order them in the tiers. I'm just gonna keep them in there, whatever tier I put them in, and this is gonna be general. But I'm actually going to stick Super Saiyan 4 Goku in that tier as well, just because he is probably the other best aging unit as I'm looking at them from the anniversary. He is probably the other best aging unit on this team. Obviously, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta helped him a lot in the Grade 8 power team, but giving damage reduction as a support is great. The Grade 8 will always be great. His healing is great. Like his defense has definitely fallen off a little bit, but I think he makes up for it in terms of animations and just how strong he was for the longest time, even not being on another like monkey or like grade 8 power team. He didn't have Saiyan Roar up all the time, and he was still amazing. And then obviously he's just a great pick, and we have been missing a Super Saiyan 4 Goku that's transforming from the Baby Saga for so long. He was an amazing pick for the anniversary, and I think it was perfectly deserving. He was great, and he aged well as well. Next up, we do have the kind of stain on the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary. Admittedly, we have Evolution Blue Vegeta here. I am actually going to switch these tiers up a little bit. I feel like Super doesn't need to exist, so we are going to take this off. I really just don't know why Super exists, honestly. So we're going to just keep it to Z, because that's too many tiers. The Z sounds really good, and Super, I guess, is like a little better, but I don't think I would put anyone like above all, I guess. Maybe one unit on here. I'm looking at him now. Maybe I'd put him above all. But, you know, still, we're gonna keep them all in Z tier. I don't like having a Super tier, like picking one guy that I think is the greatest release. But I mean, I will probably, there is actually one I'm gonna pick later on. Hold on, I'm lying right now. I'm definitely picking one later. But back to this guy, back to the stain on the anniversary. We have Evolution Blue Vegeta with a unit super attack of MUI Goku. I think for an anniversary pick, he was a little underwhelming. I don't think it's the worst. Evolution Blue Vegeta has been an anniversary before, and they obviously stuck MUI Goku on there to try and make him a little cooler and more summonable, because people really aren't going to summon for Evolution Blue Vegeta. And his animations were pretty good. Not the greatest thing in the world either, but like, you know, he was on par with everyone else, so I'll give him that. So in terms of choice, I'd say he's decent. In terms of animations, he's pretty good. And then we get to his kit, and in terms of kit, he was garbage. So I think I'm gonna move him into C tier, honestly. It's either C or B. I might move him up later as I do more of these units, but I really don't. This guy was not a good like overall pick, because his kit was really, really bad. He was not good on release. Like, people tried to cope for it, and I guess you could set him up pretty good and make him look decent, but he wasn't the greatest on release. The pick is decent, like I said. I think the pick is probably like B tier, and then the animations are also like B or A tier, but everyone had great animations for that anniversary, so it's really hard to judge on that. So I'm judging mainly on how bad his kit was. All right, next up we have Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I think this is the quintessential A tier for me. He was an amazing anniversary pick, one of the coolest picks you could have. Has one of the, I think probably had the best single animation in the game with that father-son Kamehameha leading up to like any of the SSJ4 Gogeta's like animations that we got later in the year. He was definitely the best single animation for a while there, and that was stunning when I first saw it. That animation was great. The pick is great. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan needed some love, a standalone one too. He needed some love from that Cell Saga, and I love that they did just give him that. You know, like that anniversary, the picks were great. And then his kit held him back a little bit. I still think he was amazing on release and aged very well, and still think he's not very bad. I think he can be used for like certain missions with like Hybrid Saiyans and things. So I do think he is a little better, and I think people are underrating him. But I'm gonna move him up to S tier, I think, just on that. I think people are underrating his kit a little bit. I don't think it's that bad, but I think his animations and how deserving he was does carry him a lot right now. So I think I'm going to stick him in S right now, and I might move him down with other people. But like looking at this list right now, I think maybe he would go there. I might end up moving him down to S at some point, but he was a great pick. I loved him in terms of everything as a unit this year. All right, next up, the other side of the anniversary, the Gogeta from anniversary. The same thing as the Vegito. He's fusing, tag switching, all of that. I am going to stick him. I'm gonna stick him also in Z tier. He fell off a lot in terms of kit later in the year as we progressed. He got caught way more as the year went on. But I do still think as a pick, as animations go, they finally added the Super Saiyan 3 Goku Twin Dragon Fist into the game. The Vegeta's animations were good. Gogeta's animations were all like obviously beautiful, just like the Vegetos. The pick is obviously perfect, like it goes along with Super Vegito. I think he was just a great pick, and I think he fell off a little bit. I think I might honestly move Gohan down one and move this Vegeta down one now that I'm kind of reassessing this, because he fell off way harder than everyone else. Like him just being raw stats really bit him in the ass. as things went on, and I really just, I don't think he was nearly as good as he could have been as the year went on, but he was still very good on release, still very cool on release, very deserving and everything, so I think I'm going to give him S tier just because of his aging a little bit. All right, next up we have Goku and Frieza. I think this is gonna be another A tier, honestly. I think in terms of pick, I don't think people underrated how good of a pick this was. We needed a Goku and Frieza from that Universal Survival Saga. That is one of the most iconic moments in all of Dragon Ball at this point. Like, we only had the LR Tech one from when I was a freshman in high school, dude. I summoned for that in a freshman in high school. I'm a senior in college now. It has been so long since we had a Goku and Frieza unit. I think they were completely deserving. Anyone that said they weren't is just wrong. Like, they are completely deserving of an anniversary unit. Their animations were great. I think everything involving them was great. Their kit just left a little to be desired, and I really didn't get to use them that much. I did pull them. I pulled every single anniversary unit, and I got the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, or Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I guess, from the free unit, because he's the only one I didn't pull. So I did get to use all of these guys on release. And Goku and Frieza were not bad. I really didn't think they were that bad. Obviously, they've aged now, and I might, based on their aging, put them in B tier just because they don't really have a team. But I would put them on the same level as Gohan, because, like, just, I think the pick was great. I think that's what carries them. Like, Gohan is carried by animations and pick a little bit. I think Goku and Frieza were, like, one of the most deserving anniversary LRs in a long time. So I think I'm going to stick them there, just almost purely based on that, but their kit was not bad for a while there. All right, now we are getting into the Dokkan Fest of the year. We're past the anniversary. So now we're going to get into Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta from Daima. I do think this guy is obviously insanely deserving. Daima characters are always deserving. But I am not going to take them into as much account with deserving, because they're only deserving because Dokkan hasn't done them for some reason. They're releasing them so slow, and all the hype is gone, which kind of sucks. But his animations were amazing. His animations were amazing, and his kit was pretty good, I will say. I think I would stick him right there in A tier with the rest of them, because his animations were great. His kit was pretty good. I think he was a little underrated, maybe. Like, I think he was perfectly rated, honestly, because he was good and he kind of needed to be set up, but he could shine in certain moments for sure. And obviously, like I said, animations were great. That Gallic Gun animation is still one of the better ones in the game, but I think he deserves to be an A tier with the rest of them. But the Daima pick, I would say he's definitely deserving, but I just wish that we got more Daima characters in the game. All right, next up we have Kid Goku, one of the better releases from the year. Honestly, I think this guy's going to be one that's carried by his kit, because animations, I'd say, were pretty good, not the greatest. Like, they weren't insanely cool. And deserving, yes, Kid Goku needs more units, but not this Kid Goku. I think later on Kid Gokus need to get it. I think the episode 1 Kid Goku maybe doesn't need, I guess, as much. I mean, obviously all Kid Gokus need it. We want all OG Dragon Ball representation around here. We love OG Dragon Ball. But I do think that a different version of Kid Goku is a little bit more deserving, and his animations obviously were a little left to be desired, but still really good. Rock, paper, scissors is funny. I think this guy is going to be carried by his kit into A tier for now. I think these two could maybe one of these two could bump down to B, maybe Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, but I will definitely stick them there for now in terms of just release and, like, overall thing. Like I said, my criteria, I think he definitely was deserving of it. I think his animations were pretty good, and his kit was amazing. So I think sticking him in A for now is pretty comfortable. Obviously, he was carried a little by Festival of Battles, but he was still good in other events too. All right, next up we have Cell. I do need to start kind of speeding through these. I'm taking a long time. We're gonna go to Cell here. I really don't know where to put Cell. I think he might be a B tier because his animations weren't insane. I did like the Cell Games domain. That's pretty cool. Cell is pretty deserving of a unit. I think they maybe could have given him an LR. It's been a while since he's gotten one. He definitely was a little underrated kit-wise. He was pretty good on release and still pretty good now with all the androids buffs he's getting. So I think I'm going to stick him in B tier. I think he's a pretty solid B tier there. I think I might end up moving someone down to go with him at some point, though. But I think he's it's quintessential B tier. But I do think Cell was deserving, animations were good, and Kit was pretty good. Now we have LR Pikkon. This is an interesting one. Obviously, Pikkon deserves units at all times, but it is Pikkon still, and he deserved a unit. Like, he hadn't got one in a while, but it's Pikkon. No one cares too much about Pikkon, but he did kind of revive almost a dead team and was amazing. He was a great unit on release. His animations are pretty good. They're obviously not like insane, but they have some really good shots in there. Like, there's a shot of him smiling in his pre-transformed version that, like, he looks really good. That I will stick him in B tier. Definitely better than Evolution Blue Vegeta, and I'd say maybe on the same level of Cell in terms of just releases. Alright, I'm going to place these next two together as they're a dual Dokkan Fest. We have Hit and Kaioken Goku. I didn't pull either of these, I didn't summon on them. Kaioken Blue Goku is one of my favorite like moments in Dragon Ball, favorite transformations in all of Dragon Ball. I loved that episode and that moment so much. So I was very disappointed with this. So I am going to stick Hit in B tier, and I think I'm gonna also stick Kaioken Blue in B tier, because I think a Kaioken Blue could go in C tier, honestly, just because of how bad his kit. I think I am. He's gonna go with Evolution Blue. His kit was so bad, but we needed a Kaioken Blue Goku in this. I'm keeping him in B. We needed a Kaioken Blue Goku in this game. We hadn't got one since the AGL one, like that. However, literally one of the first handful of Dokkan Fests we ever got. Like, we needed another to Kaioken Blue Goku in this game, and they just fumbled his kit. I would stick him in, like, S or Z had his kit not been so bad. So I think B is fair, because in terms of animations and deserving, he's up there. He's up there in the S or Z tier, but I think his kit brings him down to B just because of how bad he was. Hit, I believe. Honestly, Hit, I'm going to move to A tier. We did also need another Hit in this game. We'd been so long since we gotten one, and he was very good. That is obviously one of the better things. He was insanely good. His animations were pretty good. They were kind of short, if I remember correctly, and obviously they looked good. All the animations look good nowadays, but I think he was still left a little to be desired on it. But I do think he was insanely deserving, insanely good, but it's still Hit, so I don't know if I could stick him in that Super Gogeta tier. But I do think he was executed greatly. Like the TURs right next to him, I think he fits in that line. All right, we have tag switching Kale and Caulifla. They were very good on release, and definitely one that I think is somewhat deserving. Animations were very good. I am gonna Fortunately, I think stick them in B tier though, because we have gotten a lot of Kale and Cauliflas over the years. Not a lot, obviously. We've only gotten a couple premium units for them, but there have been a lot of Keflas and stuff, and having a tag switching one that does not fuse was, I think, a mistake, and that kind of hints for our global download celebration part later. Having them not fuse, I think, was a fumble a little bit, but they still looked very good. Their animations were great. They had a great kit, but I do think B tier, it fits for them in terms of deserving, in terms of animations and kit. I think B is pretty good. I think the tiers above them were more deserving of characters and had some cooler animations or better kits. They were just stronger on release. These guys weren't, if I remember correctly, not like insanely dominant. They might have been top of the tier list, but they weren't like they weren't killing everything and everyone. You know, we still had Super Vegito running the game at that point. All right, next up we have Mercenary Tao. This one, I'm sticking right in A tier, and I honestly might move him in S tier, because Mercenary Tao is one of the most underrated Dragon Ball characters. He's obviously doesn't get too much screen time. He's very cool. Like, he has those aura farming moments with his slipper and shit. Like, he is cool as a character, and one of the bigger bads of OG Dragon Ball, one of the first guys that's really dangerous that Goku fights. And I do think his animations were great, and his kit blew everyone out of the water. So I think I am going to honestly move him into S tier, just because of how strong he was on release and still is. He ran that team. He can run events still. Like, he's such a strong release, and it's the only Mercenary Tao we have gotten in this game, I think, ever. That's like a premium unit. I think they didn't fumble him at all, so I would proudly put him in S above most of those guys that had a little bit of something of them fumbled. All right, next up we have his partner in crime. I'm sticking right next to him, LRTN. I might put TN in Z, honestly. I am on it. I'm putting TN in Z. TN was an amazing release. We needed a 23rd World Tournament. I think that's the right one. TN, from that fight with Goku, his animations were good. Like, I think they were a little left to be desired, but they were still funny, like the volleyball fists and everything. His kit, obviously, he was amazing. He was the greatest unit in the game for a while there, and he is perfectly deserving, as I've already said. I think he is a pretty good Z tier to stick up there in terms of releases. All right, next up, I'm going to place these two together as well. I think these are both quintessential S tiers as I sit here and put them here. I think, yeah, these are the perfect image of what you want from an S tier, and they're going to be in the same reasoning of Kale and Caulifla of they did not fuse, and I think that was a fumble just a little bit. I don't think it was the end of the world. In the moment, I think everyone hated it, and it was a huge uproar, but I think going past it now, it was not as bad as we may have thought. They are still great units. Their kits are both amazing. They've aged very well coming in through the later half of the year, and they're both, all their animations are great, except for the Goku on this side. The Goku on this side, his animations left a little to be desired. I wish they did some more with him, maybe like the backhand or something. But the KO screens, the active skills, they were all beautiful, and they're all very good, and they're future Saga. They're all deserving picks. They weren't the most deserving, because obviously we did just get a blue Goku and Vegeta, but I would put this guy probably in A tier, below the Zamasu and Goku Black, but they're so strong. Like, the Goku and Vegeta, I don't know how they're going to age, really, with 80% dodge and 80% damage reduction. Like, the Vegeta's strong, too. Both active skills are good. I think they were great releases in general. I do think that maybe, yeah, that they could have fused and they could have left a little bit more to be desired, but they are still great releases, and I still would put them in S tier along with the rest of them in terms of just hype and everything that went along with them. All right, next up, Dual Dokkan Fest we have are probably the two best releases of this year, in my opinion. I'm going to stick, this is the one guy I said I would stick in super tier, is Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And I am also going to stick Omega right up there next to him. I think these are perfect. There's really nothing I can say about them. Animations are great. I think Omega maybe could have gotten a little bit better animations, but he still looks good. His domain is cool. His, like, 18 key and his 12 key are still cool. But the main thing that goes with him is just how strong he is and how good of just how good of a team he's able to just command. But I do think that he maybe could have been a little bit more of a slot 1 for his team, because his team kind of lacks that. But I think in terms of release, I might honestly bump him down 1. I thought about bumping him down 1 just because of his team in general, but he runs that team and makes it so cohesive, giving damage reduction. I'm pretty sure he gives damage reduction. Giving damage reduction, the domain, obviously the leader skill. I think he is just an amazing villain lead, and pretty much brought villains together this year. So I am going to keep him in Z tier. But obviously, the number one, like I said, I'd probably put him in super tier, is Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. He is the best release of this year. He was amazing on release, still very good. Animations are the greatest in the game. The pick is perfect. We haven't had a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in a hot minute. Like, it was perfect. There's nothing I can complain about with this guy. He was amazing. And I think Omega going alongside him was another great villain lead. I think he maybe could have been the tiniest bit stronger in slot 1 at the start of the fight or something, but I'm nitpicking him at that point. And I think his animations maybe bring him down a little bit, but he still looks pretty good in terms of everything he's able to do. And I think his animations might bring him down a little, but I think the cohesiveness of his team and him being the leader of it is what makes him such a good release for villains in general. All right, next up we have a very controversial one as I'm using him now. I'm going to stick this guy in B tier, the LR Gohan and the kids that go with him. I'm gonna stick him in B tier. In terms of pick, very random. Wish that, like, I think for if you're gonna release an LR instead of a Dokkan Fest right after the, like, download celebration that it usually would be, you need to pick a better pick than that. He wasn't anything insane. I really don't know, like, why they would pick him. I guess it was just Toshi with, or not, I don't even know Toshi. I don't know who the Omatsu, there we go. Someone who likes hybrid Saiyans is clearly there. So I think that was the hybrid pick. I don't like it too much. His animations are pretty cool. I like the Galactic Donut. I like his family Kamehameha with them. He's a cool unit, but he is not aged very well. He gets caught a lot. Every time I use him, he's just not as good as I think he is. Like, he's just got a weird kit on him too. Like, I really don't know. But I would put him in terms of my feeling of his release, I would put him in B tier right now with the rest of them. I think he wasn't as deserving. His animations were pretty good, but not insane. It's kind of on the same level of like Omega, but he wasn't as deserving, and he was not nearly as good of a team runner. His team he couldn't run his team solo. Just that, I mean, Omega wasn't really running his team solo, but he couldn't bring the team together as well as like Omega did. So I'm gonna put him in B tier just in terms of release. But obviously he was very strong on release. I won't deny that. He was one of the best units in the game on release. But he's just left, as the year has gone on, he's left a lot to be desired, for me at least. Alright, next up we have the Golden Frieza and Gogeta. I think this is a pretty good A tier in terms of pick. Not very deserving, kind of random, but still cool. It was unique. I liked that. It was very unique. Their kit is pretty unique with the target mechanic and him kind of just being like a transformation unit. Like, you just need to go to Gogeta once you can. And then he runs both teams. He's pretty weird with like movie bosses and heroes, but he kind of revived both of them somewhat on his own. Still a pretty cool unit. Like, obviously animation's very good. Like, I think A tier is pretty good for him. He was a very good pick, a very surprising pick. I think if it had been if it would been just a Golden Frieza or just a Gogeta, I would put him in B tier, just because it would be kind of weird. But I think the swap with them is a pretty good pick and a pretty unique. I like celebrating the uniqueness of Dokkan, so I'll put him in A tier almost entirely because of that. And Kit, obviously, he's very good. Not the greatest in the world, but still very good. Tech Broly, I do also kind of want to stick into B tier, but I think I'm gonna put him in A tier with Golden Frieza purely because of the pick. I think Fury Broly was one of the most deserving units in the game, and for a long time we did not have a good Fury Broly or any Fury Brolys really from Dragon Ball Super Broly. So I think he was an amazing pick in terms of everything. His animations are great, everything, and he's kind of just a Festival of Battles merchant. That's really the only reason I wouldn't put him any higher, or that I wanted to stick him lower, is that he really shines in Festival of Battles, and anywhere else he just doesn't really come out and like dominate as much as he does in that event. But obviously Festival of Battles is still an event, so we'll take that into account. And I think sticking him in A tier is pretty good. His animations are good, Kit was pretty good, and definitely very deserving of an LR. Alright, next up we have Baby here. I think we definitely needed a Baby, and a transforming one at that, but I do think that we could have gotten a Baby that transformed from a different form. I am going to stick him in A tier for now. I think we haven't had a Baby since the AGL one, so I am very happy that Baby got another unit, and I think he was very deserving. I think his kit was very strong. He left a little bit to be desired, and his animations were pretty good, if I remember correctly. He had some pretty cool animations leading up to like his Great Ape and stuff, and his active skills and supers. So I think he was a pretty good pick. I would probably put him on line with the other Dokkan Fests in here, because I do think he was very deserving, and I think he was pretty strong on release. I'd put him maybe on the same level as like Hit. I would agree with that. So I think I'm gonna put him in A tier. All right, this next guy is going to be our other C tier going in here with the Gohan and Goten Baby absorbed versions. I think the deserving wise, just kind of random. Animation's pretty cool. Kit, not the greatest in the world, just kind of pretty good. But I would put them with Evolution Blue Vegeta. I'd maybe put Evolution Blue Vegeta below. I really think I'm gonna put Evolution Blue Vegeta in D, just to show how bad he was of a release, honestly. I would put the guys still above them, still above him, the two above him in terms of just release in general. They were much stronger on release. Their animations are pretty good. They have some cool ones. And then obviously, yeah, the pick is obviously deserving. They haven't gotten a unit yet, but I really just don't know what they were thinking picking them of all people. I I don't know, but it's pretty good. I'll put them in C tier in terms of release. I definitely think they're better than Evolution Blue Vegeta, though. All right, next up we have Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I'm going to stick this guy straight into Z tier, I want to say. I would put him in Z tier because obviously we haven't had a chance to see him age yet, but he is very, very good as a TUR. He's very strong. His animations are great. His counter is great. His KO screen's great. Like, and he's obviously deserving pick. Like I said, the Diamond ones are always deserving. I think it brings them down a little that they haven't been releasing as many, so the hype isn't as high as it should be. But I do think he's perfect. If they made him any weaker, he would not have worked. I like that they made him just as strong as he should have been. He's one of the strongest, if not the best, like, TUR in the game right now. His animations are great, and I think he's very deserving. There's not much to say on him. I'll put him right in S tier with the rest of those guys. Same thing here with this guy. I'm going to stick Goma also in Z tier. Very strong character, very helpful, I think, to his team. I think the giant form is always good. His animations are really good, and obviously Goma needed a unit. I think they could have maybe did like a small one, but I guess they did a big into a bigger version of Goma, but I think he's up there with the Goku in terms of release. We haven't gotten to see if he ages a lot yet, but I'm kind of going on in this moment right now. I will put him in Z tier in terms of releases, just because I think obviously he's deserving. His animations are great, and his kit is really good and fun for those who have him in festival battles. You can just stack with him all the time, but I do think he's a very good release. I might honestly, I would maybe stick him in S tier just based on his kit a little bit, but I do think he's still very strong in terms of his teams and that he's able to run them on just in general. All right, I did a little more debating on Goma. I think I am just going to keep him in Z tier for now. I kind of went back and forth on if I should keep him there, and I do think I should. I think he was very good. I think he's still very good and a very good release, so we are going to keep him there. All right, and last we have the newest Dokkan Fest of Android 16. Another one kind of like the Pycon, I guess, or the Baby. Little out of left field, but you know, going on with it, still think it's pretty good of a pick. I do think I'm going to stick him in B tier, or I might stick him in A tier, honestly, because he's very strong for the Androids team. He's kind of solo carrying them, kind of like how Omega, not really solo I guess anymore, with his Easy A's have gotten a lot better with the Tech Androids and the Int Androids, but he himself is very strong. His animations are pretty cool. I will give him that, like the Rocket Fist. I'll keep him in A. I think he's on the same level of these other guys in terms of releases. I do think that he is a little bit of a weird pick, but 16 is definitely deserving of a Dokkan Fest. I think it's just a little weird of a time. I think we're kind of getting into the New Year's part where I thought we would be getting more into a Daima theme, and we're getting into an Android Cell Saga theme. So I think it's just a little weird, but you never know what's going to happen in these like dead months during the year, so they could release anything at this point. So I will stick him in A tier, kind of on the same level as Baby. I think he's very good. I think he's a lot stronger than Baby, but I think Baby is just one that we really did need for villains, and he fit well with Omega Shenron during the year. I think he was just a good pick in general, and I think 16 is weird with the Androids team, but he's very strong, and they're releasing a lot of stuff around him to keep him going with that team. It's not like Gohan where he kind of just doesn't have an amazing team. I think Androids is pretty viable in a good chunk of events right now, but he himself is a good pick. I think 16 was deserving. Definitely a little weird. Wish we got Hellzone Grenade Piccolo, but you know, Androids always good to get some buffs on them, and I think he is a good pick, good animations, and great kit. All right, yeah, this is my final ranking of all the releases of 2025 so far. Not in terms of how good they are, just in terms of how good of a release overall I think they were. I think this is a good showing of what I think everything. We got right at the edge there of my face cam. There we go. I do think this is a good representation of how I feel in terms of every single release. And I do think that, obviously, looking at it, Evolution Blue Vegeta was the worst, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was the best, at least in my opinion, in terms of releases. Alright, yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you stayed all the way to the end, I think I love you. I know it's a long one. Make sure you like and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.